Welcome to the French Drainman channel. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood. In this video, the men are going to show you how to take a pop-up to a curb. They're going to show you how to drain out the line completely. This is going to work even in areas that don't allow a curb hole because the majority of the water is going to come out of the pop-up. What the men did is they took an 1.5-inch piece of PVC and they went ahead and they used a hole saw. They have a pop-up emitter fitting, and at the bottom of it is an 1.5-inch piece of PVC. Now here at the curb, a really small hole was made in the curb. Now if you live in an area that doesn't allow curb holes, you'll be able to get away with this. It doesn't draw any attention. When the sump pump turns on, it won't shoot up into the street. This really mellows it out. When the water builds up in the line, it'll start coming out the pop-up emitter. It really mellows out the flow of the water. You can see that the pop-up emitter is up. We have a 4-inch line. We have an 1.5 inch sump pump discharge line to a 4-inch line. A downspout is also on this line. The 1.5 inch is not going to let very much water through. It's really mellowed out. You can see the water pouring over the curb coming out of the pop-up emitter. This is so that you don't draw attention to yourself. In the event in the wintertime that there's ice buildup at the curb, the water can come out of the pop-up. When the sump pump turns off, the pop-up lid will go down. The 1.5 inch PVC that's through the curb will drain the line out completely. This is really important in northern climates. You don't want to leave water behind in the line, because when the weather gets cold, it's going to freeze. Then when you have a thaw and your outdoor sump pump system needs to run, it's not going to be able to discharge the water. It's going to end up burning up the pump, and you're not going to end up draining all that thawed water. If we have a warm-up, it's very common when we have a warm-up and a thaw to then have rain on top of that. Your sump pump discharge line for your backyard outdoor sump pump system is going to need to be able to flow water. I always recommend running your 1.5 inch discharge line to at least a 3-inch pipe. In this case, we ran it to a 4-inch pipe out to the curb. When water displaces over a larger area and a larger diameter pipe, it mellows it out. That way you're not shooting the water out into the street, upsetting your neighbors. Right here's the downspout that we tied into that line. What's nice about doing this is if we do have a freeze up at the curb, we can then go inside this clean out, remove the center portion of that screen, and we can run hot water through the discharge line. And then we can thaw out the frozen ice at the curb. 2 things I recommend for every discharge line. A clean out, like you see here, and also have it vented upstream. And the way we put that pop-up emitter in, that's venting it upstream. So if the curb freezes, it can come out the pop-up emitter. This yard will never flood again. If you found any of this information helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports the channel. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.